What's up guys, Phil back here with Vapor Station, and today I will be doing a build on the Doge V2 Competition RDA. Like I said before, it's all about safety and knowledge. So if you have never built before and are new to it, you might want to do some research before doing anything with any of the products, whether it be royal wire or kanthal wire. Make sure you know what your batteries are rated for, and just make sure you know what you're doing before doing any kind of build, just for safety. So this is my basic build kit. You're gonna need, for me, I use screwdrivers to make the coils. Some people use drill bits. For me, I use a 3mm screwdriver. You're gonna need some tweezers, some cotton, and the wire. You're gonna need some wire cutters. You're gonna need your mod, of course, and the RDA. I use scissors to cut the cotton. It's a little easier than using the wire cutters, and then of course some juice. So first things first, let's get to making the coil. So today I'm gonna be building a single 24 gauge, I believe 6 wrap coil on the Doge. So GVS, we use royal wire. So let me go ahead and take the cotton out already. So the royal wire, if you didn't know, is it's already out of the bag. You don't need to torch it or anything. It's non-treated. So let's go ahead and cut a piece out. For me, I like to make the piece a little longer, just because it's better to have more than less. Because once you start making the coil, if you don't have enough, you're gonna have to start all over. You wasted all that wire anyway. So. So that is my strand of royal wire, 24 gauge right here. Like I said, some people use drill bits. I use a 3mm screwdriver to make my coils, so I'll be using the flathead for the RDA, and then I'll use the Phillips to make the coil. So here we go. So I like to make sure the wire's pretty straight. You don't really want to use a piece of wire that has a lot of kinks in it, just because it might create some problems when you're trying to fire up the coil. So this piece of wire is pretty good, no big kinks in it. So I like to take the screwdriver. I like to just leave about for me, I like to leave about 1 inch. Then I'll go ahead and hold it down towards the edge of the screwdriver like that. Then I'll make my first wrap. So when you make the wrap, you want to make it as close and tight as possible. So that would be my first one. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to make sure it's pretty close together. I like to leave it on the screwdriver, kind of push it together as much as you can. You'll use the tweezers later to adjust it while it's on the RDA. So there's my single coil. I'll go ahead and cut off the excess off the other side. Real quick. Just put the excess aside, and then your RDA. So go ahead and unscrew. Since it's only a single coil, you only have to unscrew the center post and one of the outer posts. Like I said, these ones, these are 3mm holes, so they're huge. You won't have any trouble fitting the coil in there. I like to make sure the coil is kind of even when I put it in. So you can see right there, could be a little straighter, but it'll work. So you're gonna stick one end of the coil into the center post, and then one end to the outer post. Then you want it to be a little over the base or the drip well, but you want it to have enough clearance from the outside. You don't want it to touch the cap. You don't want it to, if it touches the cap, it'll cause a short. So let me go ahead and fix this up real quick and I'll show you. You can always use a screwdriver too that you made the coil with to straighten it out on the deck like this. So turn that around for you. It's a little spaced out right now, but like I said, once I have it tightened down and the spacing correctly between the post and the outer drip well, then we'll go ahead and use the tweezers to tighten up the coil. So let me just tighten this up real quick. Straighten it out. As you can see, I'm using the screwdriver to straighten it out. So the ends, I like to flip them up on the other side and then cut the excess off as close as possible to the post. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. You want to be careful too with snipping the excess because sometimes they do fly. You do not want these things getting stuck anywhere on you or stepping on them or anything, so you want to make sure to cut them down and away from your face. So I'll make sure the binding or the posts are tight real quick. Turn it around. The coil's a little wide still, but like I said, we're gonna fire it up, and then we're gonna, while the metal's hot, it's easiest to make the coil tight by using the tweezers. So turn on my Sigelei real quick. So when you fire it up initially, you want to just pulse it. You don't want to hold it, because if you hold it for a really long time, you'll see the coil turn orange, fire up, and then it'll actually probably snap. It won't stay together. So you want to pulse it a couple times. So I'm going to go ahead and pulse it. And then give it a couple pulses, and then you want to use the tweezers to squeeze the coil together. Let me do that real quick. I'll show you. You want to make sure it fires evenly. So you see the orange. Turn this down a little. You see the orange glow. It needs to be even. So if you see any hot spots, which means one spot that looks brighter than the other, you want to take your tweezers and then you want to squeeze the wire, fix it, so you can get a nice even glow, and that means the coil will heat up all evenly. Give it a couple squeezes, make it a little tighter. I'll show you again. It's nice and even. And if you ever feel like you want to either make the coil higher or lower, you could always put your screwdriver in. Make sure it's totally level. Make sure it's straight. You never want to fire it though while the screwdriver's in there. That'll snap the wire. You don't want to do that. So let's get the screwdriver out. Fire it up again. Okay, let's give it one more squeeze. That's my single coil 6 wrap right there. So for battery safety, you usually have to use an ohm reader to figure out how low your build is, so you can figure out what kind of batteries you should be using. It'll tell you the resistance of the wire and the coil. Every battery, a lot of the batteries are rated the same depending on the amperage, but you want to make sure you know by going to your local vape shop or even pulling up a chart online which batteries are safe with the build you're doing. So on my Sigelei, it does have an ohm reader. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. It's reading at a 0.4 right now. I'm running 2 EFES 35 amp batteries in here, which is more than safe. You can see right there. Okay, always lock it too. When you're not pulsing it or firing it up, you always lock your mod. I just locked the Sigelei. Next, we're gonna work on the cotton. The Royal comes with cotton already. You always want to use organic cotton that's not, you know, bleached or anything. So for me, this cotton ball was was originally a ball, but I like to unwrap it where it's in layers, because when you get the cotton this loose, you'll actually get more juice able to be soaked up in it. So I'll go ahead and rip a piece off real quick. Remove the excess cotton. So I like to roll the cotton a little bit. Get a little form in there. Like I said, the looser the cotton, the more juice it'll be able to soak up. So go ahead and roll it a little bit. And then one end has to go through the coil, so I like to twist up one end. Then I'm going to use it to pull the cotton through. I went ahead and twisted it up like this. And stick one end through the cotton. And go ahead and pull it through. So that is the cotton right there. So everyone has personal preference. I usually like to cut probably half of this off from each side, because as you're gonna see, I'm gonna tuck it under. Leave a little airflow under the coil so you get some good airflow. So you can kind of eyeball it. Let's see. Take some scissors. Cut off the other side. Make sure that it's nice and even over here. This is where your tweezers will come in handy again. Gonna want to take the tweezers. I like to tuck the ends under like that. So I'm gonna tuck the ends under the coil. I use my tweezers to make a little airflow pocket under there. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you right after. Okay, so I tucked the ends under right there. Like I said, I like to make a little airflow pocket under there, because the airflow under there will get more vapor up to the cap. That's how my personal preference is. You can wick it any way you want. This is just my personal preference, just in case you had no idea how to wick it. So I'm gonna tuck it under, make sure the coil is exposed. And then from here, you want to juice it up. You're gonna need some juice, of course. You want to juice it up pretty good. So I'll do a couple drops on the coil, then on the cotton. You want to make sure the juice soaks in real good. So I'll put a couple drops, and then I'll let it sit for a minute. Let the cotton soak it all up. There might be some excess juice, but part of it. So once you have the cotton soaked up, I like to put the lid back on, or the cap back on. So for the Doge, it's a 3-piece design, so I can put the cap back on. Let's see. I align the air hole with the coil. You see right there, coil is visible through the air hole. Drop a couple more juice, drops of juice in there. So now that this is where the drip oil comes in, now all the cotton's packed in there, all the juice is in there. unlock this Sigelei. Turn the wattage up real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna take it off one more time just so you can see it fire. So there is the coil all juiced up. Make sure there's a little air pocket under there. And this is a single coil on the Sigelei at 70 watts on the Doge with roll wire. You never want to put your face near it because juice will tend to fly off. Alright. Okay. Let's juice it up one more time. Then ready to vape. Okay. So on the Doge, single air hole for the cap, competition cap. So I'm gonna put the single hole right here, line it up. So there's a single hole for the single coil. The other side's blocked off. It's adjustable airflow control. And let's go ahead and take a couple hits on the fresh build. 0.4 single 24 gauge 6 wrap. Let's see. There you have it, single coil, 24 gauge 6 wraps roll wire on the Doge V2. This is just one of my favorite builds. Like I said, make sure do your research on what kind of build you're doing on your batteries, on your wire. Make sure you are sure on your battery safety before you do any kind of builds. I just wanted to show you what kind of builds I do here at GVS. So yeah. Why shop regular when you can shop premium, guys? I'll catch you guys next time.